the electricity failure and then got the electricity back. So it manages the evidence of service quality in such a way that customers see the value of the service provided. It has to be cost effective. Applying behavioral science to service encounters. Front end and back end of the encounters are not created equal. So in the front end of the encounter is like, for example, let's say customer check into a hotel, then checking the area, for example, front office, and the checking area is the front end. And then after, let's say, customer is staying for some time, and then he wants to check out. So checkout is the back end. So if the front end is front end and the back end are treated equal, for example, let's say in the front end, the hotel has to receive the customer in a very happy way so that customer is the king. In the back end, some or other, uh, the get the payment, okay? Get the payment. Getting the payment time is not always a happy time. So you see, uh, therefore, the front end is and back end are normally not treated equal. Front end you have to be better. Actually, but my opinion is whether it's front end or back end, you have to treat the same. But at the same time, payment is like, you give something away. Giving something away, giving something away and taking something, this is treating these two equal is a good philosophy, but then people are not like that. Okay. And segment the pleasure, combine the pain. You see, pain combining with pleasure is a way of minimizing the pain. So the customer control the process. For example, when let's say you go to pay the electricity bill to the electricity board, and then there are, let's say, a number of queues, and then it's up to you to select a particular queue, and then suddenly your queue is full, and the next other queues are going fast. So then who is responsible? Then it's you. It's to you, to whom you should blame. You have to blame yourself for joining that particular queue. So then, when the customer has a choice and customer control the decision, he cannot blame much to the service organization. So that's why letting the customer control the process is a wise idea. Pay attention to norms and rituals. The norms and rituals are like procedures, practices, uh, traditions. You have to pay attention to these things. Because breaking away from such things, it can add to dissatisfaction of customers. People are easier to blame than systems. So, say you have to wait in the queue because the employee is on a telephone conversation. So it's providing employees on a telephone conversation. On the other hand, the other situation is you have to wait in the queue because computer is broken or the electricity failure is there. Also, in such situation, the blame is less to the organization compared to the Q is due to the employee engaged in another activity. So, service guarantees as design drivers. Recent research suggests that any guarantee is better than no guarantee. So guarantee is that, if it fails, you are going to pay back everything, no charges. Okay. So some kind of guarantees is going to invoke the consumption. Okay. So therefore, guarantee is better. Involve the customer as well as employees in the design. So by doing so, both parties, customers and employees, become familiar with this service, and customer satisfaction can be assured, and employee satisfaction and also employee training is facilitated. Avoid complexity and legalistic language. So you see, normally in service encounter, it's important to show friendliness and empathy. So therefore, this official type of uh, complex and legalistic languages using them is not a good thing. Let's say, do not quibble or wriggle when the customer invokes a guarantee. If customer asks for a guarantee, better to say yes. Make it clear that you are happy for customers to invoke guarantees. So this ends the class. If you have questions, we can have a discussion. Any questions?
So excuse me. So
Yes.
this is not relevant to today's discussion. Can you give us a small example on plant within plant?
A plant within plant, like, you see, we have a number of situations. Like, for example, let's say a factory producing uh, three brands. Okay, certain factories producing three brands, and then these three brands can be produced with different priorities. Let's say if you want to produce a brand that is cheaper brand. So then, let's say take two brands, for example. Cheaper brand, the one brand is cheaper, and it's for people who cannot spend much. So then the cost is a factor. So then that branch of the factory is operating as in order to minimize the cost. Okay. On the other hand, then you produce a super brand targeting the uh, targeting well-off customers who are prepared to pay, and then for that, you can produce a product with the top priority being quality. So you see, then those two branches in the same factory producing operating as two different plants. Okay, but then the here you have a factory producing two brands, the main factory. In the factory you have two, let's say two departments. Okay, the one department is producing cheaper car, let's say cheaper product. The other department is producing a expensive quality product. So in the expensive quality product, top priority is quality. Cheaper product, top priority is cost. So then this is a plant. You have a plant that is major plant, major factory. In plant you have two plants within. You have two plants within the major plant. So that's the even even uh, so this is a situation where you produce two brands, but then again, you can have let's say two departments in the operation under the direct operation. So General manager operation, let's say you have production department, supply chain department. Supply chain department, I think, the speed is a priority, and they can function as assign speed as top priority and the second priority as cost. On the other hand, production department, let's say, again, depending on your target market, either price or cost as top priority. Uh, so like that, different departments also can function with different priorities. In that situation, also you have within the major umbrella, you have different functions or operating as it's a quasi plants. So that's how it is. Got it?
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Anything else?
Sir, excuse me. Are you going
Yes.
to share these lecture videos with us?
The videos I shared already. This handout. So because my today also examination also there was a failure in the recording. The There's a problem in the computer, so that recording. If the recording happens, I will try, but then recording fail most of the time. You can follow your handout, then everything is in the handout. So what I do is what I'm doing is explaining the handout, no? And then the other thing is when it comes to your examination, if the COVID-19 continues this way, you will have most probably you will have examination that will be open book. Today also for technology and innovation management, I gave open book exam so that you can use all kinds of materials, including material in the internet. Okay, so don't worry about the notes. The best thing is you learn, and then uh, like I said, it's the information age. Information is available. Okay, it's a matter of comprehension and improvement of analytical and synthesis skills. So the other type of let's say closed book exam, we cannot supervise properly a closed book exam. Online exam, we cannot supervise the exam properly. So in all probability, if our exam is online, it will be open book if it's my paper. And some lecturers, I don't know what they're doing, because everybody is free to do what they like to do. So I would like to have a practically good examination with uh, proper supervision. Proper supervision, like in the open book examination, we don't have to supervise, much. It's up to you. This material is available. Like you can have your books, you can have your class notes, you can have your how do you call material found in the internet. So, no problem. So like that. I think judging by the way the country going through the COVID-19, I think your exam will also be online exam. So better, I think, you see, better to master, uh, let's say we have, uh, let's say, you have to develop your own, you see, you should make this particular knowledge your own knowledge. So that, let's say if you give a case study or something, you can apply whatever you learn in the class to the scenario. Or if you give a computational sum, so they are, the key, they are, the most important thing is key elements and key aspects of quantitative sum. So once you figure out those stages, you can find answers properly. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Anyway, if you have like, questions, you can ask so that I will clarify. Once during the session also, like if there are things that are not clear to you, you can ask from me, and then you can take on notes, keep them, as as part of your own notes and then part of your knowledge. So that I think is the best advice that I can give you. So what matters, most important thing is the final result. No? Well, final result is not just the examination result and how much you gathered from this particular subject, or for that matter any other subject. If you don't have any other question, I'm going to end the class.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir.
So if you have questions, you can write down, and then we can discuss at the beginning of the next week class.
Sure, sir. Sure. We will do like that, sir.
Okay.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.